we go. Okay. We're good to go. Countdown. All right, we good to go. Let me get in here so I can see all the chats and everything. So, right now, I'm sending everything out. I'm sending all the, I'm sharing it out to people that I know. So I'll be copying and pasting and sharing the link out to a lot of people in here. A lot of people be like, yo, this is mine. All right, got about 1:30 left. All right. So how's everybody doing on today? Um, so we do have a pretty good show schedule for you guys today. Let me cut this music off because it is pretty loud. Um, let me see here. I probably had the music. I had the music muted the whole time, huh? No, I was playing. But yeah, probably I got a pretty good show for you guys, man. I got my man Coach Draft on here today, man. It's gonna be pretty good for my Qs and just all my athletes, here and on around, man. Um, Pretty special guest. We're gonna get into that in about 2 minutes. We're gonna give time for people to come in, give time for people to, log in and drop comments and things like that. The more people we have in here, the more engaging the conversation is. Thank you, baby. Um, I know it's hot. It's hot. It's all good. All right. The more engaging it can be, the more polished it is, and the more fun it is. So I'm going to go ahead and put the link out here on Facebook and on Instagram. If you could, please share it, send it out to get more and more people in tune so they can get the information. We do a lot of recruiting talk. We do a lot of stuff to help our athletes from the youth level to the high school level, um, just to help them out. The more information, the better. So without further ado, so I'm going to go ahead and introduce my boy, man, Coach Draft. We're gonna bring him on the show. Then I'm gonna let him talk about himself for a little bit, and then we're gonna get into it. We're gonna talk about quarterback play, recruitment talk, high school talk, and we're gonna talk about the culture of high school sports and things like that. So, without further ado, let me go ahead and introduce my guy, Coach Draft. We locked and loaded, baby.
Yeah, you can hear me right?
Let me see. Can I hear you?
Yeah, I'm getting a little bit of feedback, so I just want to make sure that you guys can hear me.
You're breaking up. Let me see why you're breaking up. Let me see. I don't know why you're breaking up. Let me try to okay. Let me try to get you logged off and then like jump off and then recall back in. See if we can fix it that way. All right. All right. That's what happens sometimes. We tested it. It was fine. But we got to try it again. Make sure it's smooth. I want to make sure y'all can hear everybody. That's the whole key. I want to make sure everybody can hear. How's my audio sounding to everybody? Can everybody hear me? Can everybody hear me good? That's the key. All right. Let me see here. Now let me try it out. Let me try it again. So bring them on one more time. All right, let me see. Can you talk now?
It's good now.
There we go. Yeah, see, little ingenuity. Get it going. Get it going. All right. So, like I said, my man Coach Draft, we're gonna get this thing going, man. Go ahead, introduce yourself to people that don't know you and the people that do know you. Let them learn who you are.
Yeah, so one, I want to say thank you, Coach Dunlap, just for having me on the show. Big fan. Ever since we met at the camp, Redlands camp, we just got to talking. So just just saw something in you. A lot of the same things I see in my, people say they see in me. So I was very excited to just build that relationship. And we're both offensive coordinators, so
Yeah.
we kind of think alike. But just as for me, I'm Coach Draft. Grew up in Orange County, California. My mom's from Kansas City, Kansas. My dad's from the East Coast and New Jersey. So, I got a little bit of flavor from both sides. But I grew up on the West Coast. I went to Valencia High School in Placentia. Everybody thinks it's up by Magic Mountain, but Six Flags up there. But it's actually down here, close to Anaheim. It's in Placentia. Went to college at Fullerton College. I played basketball and football there. Won the K Swiss Bowl. That was pretty cool. They're doing that, and then did really well in basketball. And then from there, I actually went to the Navy,
Okay.
and I played for the All Navy basketball team there. Team captain for 2 years. We didn't lose one game. So it was a nice experience to be able to travel to different countries, and when we got there, we got to play like some of the top teams, but just really learning, building leadership, and just learning how to lead men. That's what the Navy really taught me, that you can have all different walks of life with people, but you got to bring them all together. That's what the service does. It forces you to have to see the similarities and not the differences, uh, and then how we gonna accomplish our mission together.
Yeah.
So, from there. I've been in excuse me, my lights might cut off, but I didn't switch the dimmer. So I might have to stand
Okay.
up and close all this. So bear
Yeah,
with me real
that's how
quick
it be,
right here.
man. It start doing
Yeah.
that. It start getting like that on you, especially when you're at them schools and they're trying to save that energy and it keeps cutting off and on, off and on. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's all
It's
good.
kind of, especially when you're working late at night, you'd be right in the middle of something. So, and you got to do that. So, excuse me for that. But yeah, so, I mean, from there, I kind of, because I've been in the finance world, the mortgage, real estate, and I mean, I've done it all, and I love the fact that I've done that. I bartended for probably off and on for about 15, 16 years,
Oh wow.
Vegas, LA. So seen a lot, met a lot of people, all different kinds of walks of life in the music, a lot in the music and the concerts, and met a lot of well-known artists. But then I always try to stay grounded because in my own family, my mom's in the Hall of Fame, College Hall of Fame. She was a three-sport athlete, Kansas Wesleyan University. She could have went pretty much anywhere in the country, but she wanted to stay close to home. And my dad was on the East Coast, like Mr. New Jersey for football, baseball. He wanted to kind of like explore and get out. So they met in college, had me and my brother. Um, my mom, my mom was out there playing softball when she was pregnant. She's just that kind of, when we
Smart
were growing
athlete.
up, yeah, when we were growing up, like she was part of the baseball staff. Like give me the ball, let me show you. I could throw the ball farther than anybody out here. So with your mom and dad like that, it was really easy for me and my brother. Like my mom played catch with us when my dad couldn't play catch with us. She hit with us. We were playing football. She did football with us. And my dad was there. They didn't miss any of our games. They were always at our practices. They were either our coach, and so that's what we know. And then my brother went on to he played 12 years in NFL.
Wow.
Um, yeah, 12 years in NFL. He graduated from Stanford. Very proud of my brother. I was the one that went this way. He went that way, but we got our own paths.
Yeah.
Relatable paths to everybody. If we all sat in the room, my family, we could relate to everybody. My dad was in sales for, you know, still is. Like he works from home, doing his thing, and in sales. So, with all that being said, wrapping all that together, I really haven't coached too much. I've been through a lot training. I've trained athletes. Um, my first coaching gig in high school was ironically was girls varsity basketball. And
Okay.
my boy was the coach. He's like, I got this coaching job, man. I'm just taking a stipend. It's like I really don't know how to coach girls, and I had trained um, girls before, so I just told him, I said, look, man, the one thing about coaching young women is just like coaching young boys. They're just growing. They're trying to figure stuff out, man. Like,
Yeah.
this school hadn't had the girls team hadn't won. Had a winning season in like 20 years. I said, so we just got to get back to the fundamentals and we got to make it fun. They're going into it thinking they're going to lose. And I had a star player that was, you know, she was a star player, but she's a star player on a bad team. So I had
Yeah.
to help her out. Yeah, I'd help her out and tell her like, to be the top player, you have to think way beyond where we're at right now. You got to be like, I got to be one good for my team, but if I'm trying to get recruited, then I got to be the best in Southern California,
Yeah.
let alone on my team. So just helping her out. She ended up going to a D2 school, and
Okay.
after we had our first winning season in 20 years,
Oh,
and
that's good. That's
and
good.
yeah, so and that was mostly just you know, being their coach, not being their friend, but being their coach, but being there as someone that I played, so, I used to go out there and run games with them,
Oh,
and I
yeah.
wouldn't take it easy. Yeah. So they respected me for that. So that was my coaching. And then, like I said, it was in finance and mortgage, different things like that. So bartending. So I was always stayed up in training with myself, stayed up into playing in leagues and the IQ just always studying, even though I was in coaching. So I got an opportunity to be a part of a 7-on-7 club and just studied for some. There were some great coaches that we had, and we had some great players, like really
Mm.
good players that really helped. And my sons were recruited to be in that. And me and the owner of the league, like owner of a club, he kind of took me under his wing and allowed me to study. And then all the coaches he brought in, I just all it was a sponge. So in the
Yeah.
second year, we built two teams, and then I basically helped revamp and build the offense.
Okay.
And from there, from there, we all know how hard it is to win these 7-on-7s,
Yeah.
unless you just have a stacked team. Well, I mean, we did have a pretty good team, Bosco players, modern day, but we filtered in a lot of the other players from other schools who really didn't have that experience of a Bosco or modern day, and we ran our practices like football practices. If
Yeah.
you miss practice, you didn't play, and that's rare in 7-on-7. They just show
Yeah.
up. We had two practices a week. The Wednesday practice, we ran your high school stuff. If you rolled out, we worked on that. We worked on your footwork and your drops. So we were giving you, high level stuff, but we weren't taking away from high school, and we
Yeah.
took pride in that. And obviously we had the recruiting and the trips. We kind of put it all together, but that was a great experience for me, for people asking me to come back and coach. And then I went to my sons their senior year. I didn't want to mess with the staff, so I said I'll take over the freshman team.
Okay.
Showed those freshman teams how to watch film, how to be on time, how to do recovery, how to do everything that you would do on a varsity squad. They got that. And right, goals. What are you trying to do the next year? What are we doing in the off season? So that was very special, and those guys still have a place in my heart. But from there, coaching the 7-on-7 and doing that, Esperanza High School, couple guys that I played, that I coached, they came to me and said, "Hey, we're losing our offensive coordinator. Can you please come and bring your offense?" And that was pretty cool, just to listen to
Yeah.
that. I haven't been coaching that long, and I came over and I had an interview with Coach Presley, JP, we call him, and
Yeah.
our 30-minute conversation turned into like 3 hours, and I didn't realize he was canceling stuff. And he just said, "I know you're raw, and I know you may not know everything, but just come in, and I feel like you could teach it." And it was, and we had a run game coordinator too, so that really helped me out. Even though I know a lot about the running game because I've been around football, but that was really, it was fun. We really literally built the playbook as we went in the spring. And
Wow.
I told the guys, look at what I have in my mind, you're not ready for. But let's keep it simple, and it was trial and error, like how simple can I make it, but it's still gotta be able to confuse defenses, and we just evolved it. I mean, we were evolving it, which was kind of cool because the teams really didn't know what we are doing.
Yeah.
I mean, you could have film on us, but then the next week, as long as they were sitting, they were actually studying their film and huddle and everything, we could actually throw in different things because I built a lot of the plays, but we could only give them so much. We had to get
Yeah.
good at this, and then we moved on. And I kind of married the formations to where it was across the board,
Yeah.
so they knew like it didn't have to change a lot, and we could run the same stuff, so that was a great. Last year was, they had won a championship in like D13 or back in
Okay.
2019. And I said, I tell the guys now, a championship is a championship. It is what it is. I don't care what division it is, because that championship is going to teach you a lot about what you're going to go through in life later on.
Yeah.
So you can't dismiss what division it is. But that was the last time they had a winning season. And then we came in last year, a lot of new staff. We had our first winning season since then. We lost in the championship game in overtime, so we ended all the teams, the top teams were together, so we ended up being third. Went to the playoffs. We lost in the first round, but the team we lost to, they came back even this year pretty good. So we got my
Right.
third year, my second year now, and you know trying to evolve the offense so it's not, the same as last year. That what my offense is. It can be complicated, but it's really simplified but complicated to the defense.
Yeah,
And it's a lot of little things that are slightly changed, so it looks the same, but then something else happens.
yeah,
So that's all we're saying. We don't got to change the world. We just got to change one thing at a time,
yeah.
right? And
That's dope, man.
it's good. But the one thing I would say is coming here is, you know, a lot of people will look at, they know the modern days, the Boscos, like even like the Trinity League, right?
Yeah,
And people don't realize how much time and effort that the coaches have to put in, even over there. They may have extra resources to have stuff, but they still do a lot, right? And
yeah,
if we had the resources, we'd have a 20-person staff too.
yeah.
We're
Most
not,
definitely.
we just don't have it. So I want to shout out to all the coaches who are coaching in all sports, and but especially football and
Yeah,
like the mid to lower divisions that may not have a lot. Because
yeah. I
we
think they
know,
sitting at like 11 coaches. You know?
yeah. So
So
I mean, I know how to coach the defense a little bit. I played defensive back, you know, um, and I played receiver. I played quarterback when I was younger. But I'm going over to the defensive side, even as the offensive coordinator, to help with the corners, and I appreciate our head coach, Coach Presley, because he knows me. This is a good shout out to him. Is I'm X's and O's. I can go out and train you. I can change my style to help you learn, but as in the paperwork side, doing all that, and I know a lot of coaches are like this. I'm just like, man, can we get an assistant? I mean, but it's part of the process of learning, and I'm happy that he has tremendous faith in me, as a
yeah,
creator and stuff. But like man, there's times, man, but I know I piss him off, about so I just
that's how
wanted to
it is,
shout out
man.
to him, man. I got love for him, man. He's helped me tremendously, and he's from the Trinity League. He
Okay.
coached at OU for a long time, so coming here and us being able the opportunity to change perspective, and we have a big game this week against York Belinda
Mm.
called the Battle of the Bastion Cherry Hill.
Yeah,
So
Belinda's been playing pretty good. I think who they play, San Jacinto or something like that. Who they played last week?
played who did they played Edison.
Edison. Okay, I
York Belinda
almost said
played.
somebody else. I thought they
They
played
came
Edison.
back and won. Yeah, came back and won, and they played San
Yep.
Jacinto the first game. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. When I
So
played, Edison was known to be back in. I graduated in '03. Edison was known as the quarterback factory. It was like churning them out.
yep, yep.
They had quarterbacks every year, top prospect, top prospect, top prospect. Pretty good program. So,
Yeah.
but man, we're
So
excited to have you. We're super excited to have you, man. So we're gonna talk about. Let's talk about because you coach. You say you're offensive coordinator, but you say you train and I know you train quarterbacks, mostly primarily, right? So we're gonna talk about. Let's talk about like the training of a quarterback. Like if you were let's say you wasn't a trainer, right? And
mhm.
there was a high school kid, he was a freshman who didn't end up starting. Or let's say he did start his freshman year. He's starting on the freshman squad, but he's in season, he's trying to get better. What type of trainer is he looking for? Like what type of training are you looking for at that level of a guy? Like,
Oh, great question. So that I mean, it's perfect. So for one is I have my repping my shirt right here, my P2 Athletics. Where's it at over here? So P2 Athletics is my company that I have, and we train, and we train, we help with recruiting, and I've had it for 1 year now, helped with the off season here, but going through that is in season, I would say, because I just built a program, and it's fun. It's crazy that you asked me this. So it's an in-season quarterback training. So you have the first 5 games are your preseason, basically not preseason, but pre-league, and
yeah,
so everybody ramps up for league, right? Because you can have you want to have a hard schedule because you want to test yourself, like we do. So I built this, and then I have it for all the quarterbacks I train, whether they need it or not. And this is I just put it in this year, but for our freshmen, we didn't really have a quarterback to come in. And so
Wow.
these guys are willing. They're willing to work hard. And I had them a little bit in my off season, but the in season, what I did is this. I told them, I said, look, and here goes my lights again. Yes. So let me just stand up real quick. Got you. All right. So
So,
all
at
right.
least at
So
least you get a warning. Ours, you don't get a warning. It just cut.
yeah, yeah. So what I did was like this. I told them, I said, okay, this is how I do it. So, I get to see him at practice, pretty much all the time. So, normally I would do an assessment on him that they'd come out, and I'd run them through, a couple drills, see how they throw. And all I'm doing is I'm not really coaching them or anything. I'm just letting them do their thing. And I'm taking either photos or videos, mental pictures of how, their fundamentals are, their arm angles and all that. And then what I do is I'll put that in a break it down, and I'll send it to their parents, and I'll go through it with them, and then that way they know what I see. They know they can understand, what we need to work on. But then what we do is we break it down to what's going to be beneficial to you right now. And
Yeah,
so right now with the freshman quarterbacks, so I just had both of them one session apiece, and just a little bit of stuff that being implemented for them. It's like, okay, how can I help you be successful right now? So we're going to take the things you do well, right? A couple things, and we're going to strengthen those. Like, we're going to work on those. But then there's a couple areas of improvement that we're going to really hone in. And it's a month training. That's it.
mm,
It's basically after your first game, because you've been training, and all of a sudden we're in games now, and now you really find out what the heck's going on, like what
yeah,
kind of quarterback you are. So now we can have some film too that we can look at to really show you in game, like, okay, this is what you're doing, this is what we're gonna do. It's little tweaks, it may be a 45-degree step back to the right. So you swing your hips and shoulders, point to toe, and you have a quick 5 yard out. But you were dancing around in the pocket, moving around too much. But if we can just 1, 2, 3, and then you have your shoulders square, pointing your toe, proper arm angle, the ball comes out on time, or and what I always say, early, right?
yeah,
So it's just those little tweaks that I worked on with Charlie today. And I mean, he's just like the arm angle. I just showed him what the arm angles were for the routes. I showed him pointing the toe. I showed him a little the 1, 2, 3, and when you get time alone with them, like for an hour, and they get just to listen, there's not a lot of distractions. You
yeah,
can see the wheels turning. Like, man, why wasn't I doing this before? And I said, it's because you're learning so much information at once. It's hard to process it. So, and then I keep it 100, like how we do our quarterback warm up. You're doing it every single time,
yeah.
right?
That's
Using your
for
hips.
me. That I feel like when I coach and I train quarterbacks, and even when I go other places, I feel like that's one of the things that you see the top quarterbacks do. Like when you go to camps and when you go and you see the good quarterbacks, they warm up. You watch them. They warm up while all the other kids are just throwing the ball back and forth to each other for like 5 minutes. You'll see the other quarterbacks. They over there getting a rotator cuff. They working themselves. They got the elastic bands. They working themselves. And it's crazy because I train quarterbacks. So no matter how much I tell them that warming up is so important. It's really just like any sport when you tell kids to warm up. They just like, okay, and they just go through the motions. But it's like it's like they don't understand how important that is just to warm up. It's like warming up your tools before you use them. Like you're using your arm, you're using your shoulder, you're using your tricep, you're using these things over and over and over again. You're trying to use them at a high velocity rate, but you're not warming them up. So,
Yeah.
I just wanted to throw that out there. But yeah, I agree with you. That warm up is important.
Yeah, and then so my ding is I'm not trying to keep the kids. They got a lot of stuff, especially when you start school. So I had to really devise a program and a plan that's going to meet the needs of like their school, because school comes first. Like your
Yeah,
academics is always first, whether it's easy for you or you struggle and you need help. It's still first, because at the end of the day, If you're trying to play at the next level and the academics isn't there, then I'm gonna tell you. Like I'm gonna pull your transcript and I'm gonna be like, yo, what's going on in the science class? Like I'm gonna because you said that's one of your goals. So if that's your goal, then don't be surprised when I pull the transcript.
Yes.
So I tell them that, and then so we have Tuesdays. Tuesdays is only a half an hour. It's everything you do with me. If there's a recovery session of 15 minutes, so it's a half an hour on Tuesday, and all we do is whiteboard. All we do is whiteboard. All it is football knowledge. Like where are you at? All my trainings in the off season, it all starts with whiteboard.
That's
Okay,
pretty
if
dope.
you're a quarterback, yeah, I'll put up there cover two, cover three, cover four. Nowadays you can see cover 5 and 6 and all this other stuff, but those three main ones, you're up there drawing me the coverages, but where are their defensive responsibilities are, right? Now, not just where this is a linebacker here, where's he supposed to go in this coverage? Because that's going to create the holes and the matchups you need. Now you need to write me
Yeah.
this side of the field, I need to cover two beater. This side of the field, I need to cover three beater. Right. So getting those quarterbacks that mentally that they can see and rep it out mentally in here when they go out there, it makes it easier. And that's my. And then you do cold tub, you have your massage therapy, whatever you need that we have available. You do that because it's after practice, and you get home do your homework. Sundays is when we have our hour workout, like today. Um, the last 15 minutes, I got some hydration stuff for them. If there's a bar, and then they get in the cold tub because they got practice tomorrow. So I can't train
Hmm.
quarterbacks and wear them out, and then they go to practice, and then what's I'm one of the coaches here, right? I can't do that
Yeah.
to my own, but I can't do that to any coach, right? And so I make sure that they can get home on Tuesdays. They can if they come over, they can come over if they're not even here at the school. Um, but like that's what I'm saying. Sundays we go to work but everybody has their own thing. Like I'm not going out here doing footwork for someone who has good footwork. Like that quarterback is going to have his section of out there what he needs to work on. And most of them have a general amount of stuff that you can just hone in and get better. But then
Yeah.
there's the specific things that one or two things that those quarterbacks need. So I can train three or four guys. Obviously the younger guys need more attention, but
Yeah.
the older guys, it's just a matter of we're filming it, we're filming it. So if I'm filming it, I don't necessarily have to be over there right next to them. I can just go back and look at the film, or I can watch them. But I try to keep the kids' ages pretty close because they're all struggling with the same stuff,
Yeah.
right?
Now, when you
So that's my
when you film
that's
it, do
my
you film it straight through or you film clips? You film it straight through?
Well, today it was just me out there with one quarterback, so I can still do a lot of the stuff. So with the young guys, I really like to be the example, right?
Okay.
Like, of course, I would like to film a lot more if I'm out there, but I can do exactly what I'm trying to train them, and then I actually got better over the last 2 years by just doing my own training. So
By
I'll go
doing
out and train. If I want to do something for the quarterbacks, I'll go out and train, bring a net out there, like 10 balls, and I'll literally throw deep outs, corner routes, hit the net. So when I come out to practice, if I can do it at 51 years old, you can do it.
yeah.
So
Yeah. I need to get some nets.
that's
That's what that's my next purchase. I need some nets.
Yeah, the nets are cool, man, because say you don't have enough receivers, you ain't gassing out your
Yeah.
receivers. But what I do for that, the little thing is, what I'll do is say I have two quarterbacks and maybe I have four receivers, right?
Yeah.
I mean, the quarterbacks can throw all day long, right? But the receivers, they can't run the same high level routes. So
Yeah.
what I'll do is maybe we'll rep out 2 or 3 reps, and then the other ones are stationary and they
Mm.
walk into it, right? So that they don't get so tired, and then they can run full speed when they have the actual full rep. But the quarterbacks are still doing the same thing. They're walking into the catch. So, you still got to hit the target, and you got to concentrate and do your job. So, but
Yeah.
yeah, I mean that's just the in season program. I mean that's a great question because I just implemented that program, and
Yeah.
we'll see, right? Yeah, we'll see. You know, I mean,
We'll see how if it
there's
pays
two
off
young
or not. Yeah.
quarterbacks, but I do want to shout out my young quarterback from Sunny Hills, Owen. He trained with me. He was a freshman quarterback, tall, thin. He came and did my 3 month program, right? And when I do a 3 month program, it's the basic fundamentals, and we're going to rep those things, and we're going to be really good at that. And you're going to be able to make, all the throws like correctly. Now you have to do
Mhm.
off schedule stuff and all that. This guy came to work every time, didn't complain. We got our fitness stuff. We do all. I got some crazy stuff. I had these guys swinging like a golf, because for your obliques and the different your torso, because that's what you're torquing all the time, and they never even
Mhm.
work like that. But it's swinging like a baseball bat, so you get that torque. I mean, just different things I do for my warm up, but he is killing it right now. When I say killing it, I think at the first game he was two touchdowns, uh, 250 yards. Came back the next game, six touchdowns, 409 yards. Then came back with the third game against Long Beach Wilson. He had four touchdowns and 300 yards. I
Oh,
mean,
don't tell me that,
he
man.
he
Okay.
he he did so well. Like he could be quarterback number two on the varsity, but
Mm.
he's tall. He needs to put on some weight, and so they said you could go down there, rec shop on the JV, get as much reps as you can. But he practiced with the varsity
Yeah.
all spring. So he got better and better. I mean, when I say the ball comes out effortlessly, the way then we did all the whiteboard sessions, so he knows the defense. And freshman in JV, they don't move around. Yeah,
No,
he's
no.
just lighting them up.
It's so much
He's just
slower.
like, yeah. And then like I said, the last thing is like my quarterbacks, and I mean there's quarterbacks in college right now. I was so thankful to work with those guys, and I still talk to all my guys. But they got my guys Travis and Jaden here. Travis was Kappa Offensive Player of the Year last year. Almost had 3,000 yards, 30 touchdowns, broke a couple school records, and and then Jaden's my sophomore guy who trained with me on the off season. He's about both top guy's 6'4", 215. He's about 6'3" now, almost about 175, and he's only a sophomore. So he got to play in the last game a little bit. So I'm excited about our team. I'm excited about this game, and like I said, there's a lot of things we can talk about on there, but that in season training is not doing too much, and you got to work on one thing at a time in
Yeah.
season. You can't work on a
So
bunch of stuff. It's got to be one thing at a time. What's the most important? What's going to give you the best chance to be successful and build all
so
that?
what we're talking about is maintenance. Is just maintaining the maintenance
Hmm.
and just keeping up, right? It's maintenance and a tad bit of enhancement with the
Hmm.
maintenance there. That's I agree. That's very important. We train on Sundays as well, just to get them going. It's a couple of young guys. We actually just start going. I feel like my specialty is the mental part, really, is the mental
Hmm.
part of playing that position because a lot of times people forget how stressful it is, and
Hmm.
especially if your season is going away that you think it's supposed to go, staying in it is very important. So the maintenance of, mind, body, and soul is very, very important, what time do you guys go on Sunday? I may have to load up the truck and head out there, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, come down. I mean, we doing at 2 to 3 o'clock. So we're at the Esperanza High School. We got a little our practice turf field in the back here, and then I'll pull out, which is really great because just being here allows me. When I came here, we didn't really have a lot of recovery stuff, and
Yeah,
so I bought a bunch of cold tubs, the ones about those, and I tell you, the guys who are star guys like last year, shout out to Edward. He's got a full ride scholarship to UC Davis, tight end.
that's dope.
Um, love my dude up there, man, and him and a few other guys, they would just love. They got in the cold tub, and I told him, I said, look, you may not understand what's going on right now, but I guarantee you, once we get deeper in the season, you gonna understand the benefits of it. I'm not saying it's the end all be all, but and those guys didn't get injured. I mean, they
Yeah.
did a lot of other stuff, but but yeah, so I have access to that, and you know, like I said, on Sundays, if you train, you got to get in the cold tub. But we teach you. Your first time, 2 minutes. You know, get your feet wet in there, and then but you know we just got to make sure that we're not overtraining for
Yeah.
your football team. But yeah, 2 to 3 Esperanza High School out here, and you know. But I did have something for you though. I was gonna ask
Okay.
you
Uh
because
oh.
you mentioned yeah, you mentioned the mental side,
Yeah.
right? And I'm big on that. You know, that's why we do a lot of whiteboard. You know, try to go over as much as we can, but you know, obviously film is big mental reps. But
Very,
yeah,
very
I just
big.
want to get your take on some of the things that you're doing for your guys to be mentally prepared. Hold on.
Um,
I'm
I
here.
really
I'm
like.
here.
Oh yeah, no, I got you. So right
Mhm.
now, with just my group, are you talking about just my group or my team? Like, my high school team, or just my training group?
I mean, just in general. I mean, obviously, your training group and then like school. You know, the quarterbacks are quarterbacks, but you know,
Yeah. So,
sometimes you have a
so
little
and,
bit
and the
more
reason
time
why
with.
is because at OV, I coach at OV. We have a 4 year
Mm-hmm.
starter, right? He's ready. He's locked and loaded, mentally strong, everything's strong. He's ready to go. So really, for him, it's just guiding his reads and keeping him on track, letting him know what he's doing wrong, letting him know what the great things that he's doing right. But my younger guys, the group that I have, is more so of like it's a bunch of unsung heroes, and that's why I kind of love my group. It's the underappreciated group, to where it's like I have to keep them mentally aware and mentally checked. Um, Sometime like for example, I have a receiver that is in my eyes he's really good, right? He has great footwork, he has decent speed, good hands, um, and the players that are in front of him aren't as savvy as him as far as the playing, right? But he never plays. So he's like contemplating on, do I finish out the season, or, should I transfer, or should I do this and should I do that? I don't know. It's like I'm putting in all this work and I'm not getting paid for it. Like I'm putting in all the work and I'm not getting paid for it. So like today, I kind of like I just kind of talked to the group about um how you never let other people dictate your work, right? No matter who it is, you never let anybody that doesn't love you unconditionally, you basically never believe in. You just don't believe them. You stay focused on what you believe in. If you think you're the best quarterback in the country, then you believe that until someone super close to you like say, "Hey, hold on, listen, you need to work on this, you need to do that." But if a coach or if somebody else tells you, you listen to them, you absorb it, right? But you don't take it and kill your and knock yourself down. Like you don't go from that feeling of I'm really good to some guy on the internet say you're really not that good, and then all of a
Mm-hmm.
sudden you're like maybe I'm not. No,
Yep.
you don't do that. You stay the course, you stay working, you stay grinding, and opportunities are not guaranteed. They're not promised. It's exactly what it is, an opportunity. Some people never get an opportunity. And that's
Mm-hmm.
unfortunately it happens. But you never know when your opportunity is coming. So you stay the course, keep going, just keep grinding, keep doing what you're doing, keep proving yourself. And when you get the opportunity, you can. And then I mean you cherish it. And then I gave them two examples. I told them you do realize there was many and many of football teams that passed up on a quarterback called Tom Brady. They
Mm-hmm.
passed up on him. They passed up on him over and over and over again until someone drafted him and he became Tom Brady. And then I also let them know that there was a team called the Charlotte Hornets that drafted a basketball player called Kobe to beat Bryant. And they traded him for overseas center called Vlade Divac.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, we always don't know the answer. And we always don't know where we're going to end up. But at the end of the day, we have to continuously grind out and become the person that we feel like we're going to be, not what someone else thinks you're going to be. You work as hard as you can to be the person you want to be. And at the end of the day, let the chips fall, baby. And it's either going to work or it's not going to work. But at the end of the day, you worked hard. You worked the best that you can. You did the best that you can. And at the end of the day, it's just This is where I ended up at. I'm proud of the work that I did. I'm proud of everything that I did to get here. I took no shortcuts.
Mhm.
So that's kind of like, so we always end the day. We always end our training sessions. I talked with them for at least 5 to 10 minutes
Mhm.
and just kind of check in with them, see where they're at. And then I kind of tell the parents as well, like, hey, let me know what's going on. If something's going on, something's concerning you, let me know, because I have an open door policy with all of my guys that I train. You can hit me up at 1 o'clock in the morning, 2 o'clock in the morning, 3 o'clock in the morning. My guys that I have in college, I tell them that you guys got $50 a year. You can hit me up at 2 o'clock in the morning. You ain't got no money for Uber. I'll send you some money. But outside outside of that, man, don't ask me for nothing more than that. But I'm gonna give you a little allowance. You can hit me up at any time, and I can give you the information, and I'll help you out as much as I can. But yes, that's kind of I feel like is something that I feel like I'm actually strong at. I got my associates in psychology, and then I have
Mhm.
my bachelor's in kinesiology. So that's how
Mhm.
they kind of mirror each other.
Yeah, that's good stuff, Coach.
Yeah,
I was just listening to you on that. Just made me think about all the relationships I built with the guys I coach, and it's nice, man, when you text them and they respond. Like
yeah,
like they pretty quick on responding, and it's just, I mean, it is hard because you think about a quarterback. There's one quarterback that plays.
yes,
There's other positions that have multiple. That's why, you get wide receivers are called divas. I was a wide receiver too. So,
yeah,
I can't say much about that, but I always played receiver like I was a linebacker. Back in the
mm,
days, I was, what, 6'3", 215 pounds when I was playing receiver. And, I just played it like I wanted to block. I could catch, I could run. I wasn't afraid to go across the middle. I mean, I played half a season with a slightly separated shoulder, AC joint,
wow,
back in, that's why when we get on the kids now, when there's like my leg hurts, and I'm like, what does that mean? Like, you just put some duct tape on something, man, we'd be out
yeah,
there. But I mean, probably wasn't the best thing for some of us, we
yeah, yeah,
going out there. But the kids to this day, I would say, the mental side of it is huge because they, frankly, I mean, it was the game. Football is football, right? I mean, I love this sport because it's physical. It doesn't matter what time back in the days or not. You might have more safety equipment, but they can run faster and they're bigger now, right? But just think,
mhm,
they always say back in the days. I know a lot of guys that could not play back then. They would be
yeah,
like, "Well, where's my face mask? Or where's my? I got, like, are these the real thigh pads we supposed to have in here?" Like, some of them guys were some dudes, man. Like, I mean, think about if you put them dudes in with all the safety equipment we have, like
yeah,
they might be monsters, like. But
yeah.
so it works both ways,
And the
but
coaching
you know,
and the training
yep,
and the
and coach.
development, man.
Mhm. So I mean, but just the quarterbacks in general is, we always forget sometimes how much pressure that's on them, right?
Yeah,
And pressure is, some people are just, they're just, they're like, when I first came here, when I was on the field, and Coach JP introduced myself, the first thing I said was, how many of you have actually won a championship?
mm,
And then, like, barely anybody raised their hand. As I said, let me take it back. How many of you won any championship? Table tennis, spelling bee, all that. I mean, it must have dwindled down to about like 4 kids in the whole program.
yeah,
4 kids. Because people don't realize that there's only one 7-on-7 tournament team that wins, right?
hmm,
There's only one basketball team of a tournament that wins, one team. Like, you may have a bunch of teams that win a lot, but one team. Before I went to the 7-on-7 club, they had never won a 7-on-7 tournament, but we had some of the best players because of how we trained, right? And then I went there and then we won a tournament. We had 2 teams. We almost had to face each other, but
wow,
we didn't. One team lost in the quarters and then we won. That would have been kind of crazy, but yeah.
yeah,
So it's hard to win. So when you win, you don't. Some kids are just on teams and they won. Like, they're. It's not that they're riding the coattail, but they didn't really. Like, that's what's really hard when you get these guys that won, but they were just on the team, right? And
Yeah.
then you have the guys that are carrying the team. But if you all work together the right way, that they all had a part. So when you all have a part and you're not just riding someone, then you know what it means like to come together and win a championship. It's a beautiful thing. But a lot of guys who are just, I'm gonna go be on that team because they win, right?
Yeah.
There's a different level of experience you have when everybody is like together. Like when the star players go help the lower level program, like your freshmen and JVs. When you see them out there throwing the ball with them, how do you
Yeah.
watch film? Like when they're engaged and everybody's working together. Like when you win, it's special.
Yeah.
When you have a couple guys that just carry you, you still win, and that, and that can happen. But I just been a part. I've been a part, and I've been one of the star players sometimes. But my mom and dad always told it. They, my dad treated us like every other kid, and I coach my kids the same way. And I'll give you a quick story. These my boys were like probably like, I don't know, they were probably like 10. We were
Hmm.
playing. They played soccer growing up too, like I did. So we played in the smaller basketball league, and they played 2 years up. So when they were 6, they were playing with 8-year-olds. So when we got to like 10 years old, I think it was like 10 or 11. Their school comes first. So Dylan, my son Dylan, my oldest, they're twins, mirror twins. One's left-handed, one. So
Okay.
yeah, he literally he tried this, man. He had a little incident at school. So we had the championship game on the weekend, and he knew the rules, right? It wasn't to the level of where you're not gonna play, but he had to sit out the first half, right? And so to him, like that's a big deal, right? Like it's a championship game. You don't want to feel like the guy that's doing it, but those are the rules, right? And
Yeah.
I told the parents the same thing. If you have rules that you want to set in, I'm all for it. I had one of the dads come up to me and go, "I can't believe you're doing this to the team." I said, "Doing what?" He said, "I can't believe you're sitting your son, and that could cause us to not win the championship."
Mhm.
And I just had to take a step back. I didn't get mad because he didn't know what our rules were. He
Yeah.
didn't know. And I said, only thing I said is like, "See him over there? Does he look like he's mad?" I said, "He probably is mad, but he knows better than not to show it. He understands. He broke a rule, and this is one of the consequences. Because I needed something that's going to affect him in a way that he's not going to want to do it again,
Do
right?
it
That
again.
that's not no harsh. It's just more. It's just currency." And I said, "He's not moping over there. He's trying to be ready to play in the second half. That's what
Yeah.
he's doing. He's going to cheer on his teammates. He's going to be a good team player, and he knows. I bet you anything, he's going to come out and do whatever he can to make us win because he's not gonna want to feel bad, and his brother's
Yeah.
definitely not gonna let him hear it, right?
Yeah.
So it was close in the first half. His brother really led the team and helped him out, like because he knew his brother came in with the right mindset, and then he came in and lit it up. We ended up winning the championship, and
That's good.
that was a learning experience for not only that dad. Um, you know, it's a learning experience where I took a chance on being the same person, same coach, telling him exactly what's going to happen. If I didn't sit him for that half, how's that look to the other players? How's it look to
Yeah.
the parents? And then, obviously the good thing is we won, right? So
Yeah.
if you
And then
lose,
how
then
does
you
that
get
look
all kinds.
to him next time
Yeah,
he's
bro.
faced with a choice to make a bad choice? You
Mm-hmm.
know,
Yeah.
because it always comes back. It always comes back. So, man,
So
that's
that's good about the quarterbacks or the star players. And I don't mean by star players like no one else is a star. You could be a role
yeah,
player, and if you're taken off, that could be the end. Like say a lineman in football, you take a lineman out, no one really knows who that lineman is, but he just does his job all the time. And now he gets hurt. Now you're scrambling. Like who's going to be there? Oh, he can't pull. He doesn't know. He can't get to second level block, right? So he can only just pass block. you
yeah,
know. So I mean, I'm just
yeah,
saying that for the quarterbacks, sometimes we got to take a step back and really just always ask how they're doing today.
yeah,
What kind of mental state are they in? Are you okay? Because the stuff, especially in high school, that they deal with, kids in general, but quarterback of a football team, Let alone a really good program.
A good program, yeah,
Yeah.
a good program too. Like to a point of throwing the ball all the time, where the ball's in
Hmm.
your hand all the time, not just grabbing it and handing it off.
Yep.
Which handing it off is a whole different monster. Counting the box
Mhm.
and things like that, and that's a whole different thing. But the next thing I wanted to talk to you about was recruiting. Man, quarterbacks
Oh,
recruiting. Talk about hard.
yeah.
Just like you said, there's only one quarterback. The same thing in
Hmm.
college. There's only one quarterback that could play. They may have five on the roster, but it's only one that could play.
Yeah. So I mean, I could start out by let me grab this chair. Trying to do so in case the dimmer, I could just move something. I don't have to
Oh,
get
there you
up.
go.
I can just shoot the chair over there. But no, I mean, my two boys, man. You know, the thing about them. So my kids, I got the twins. Ethan's probably almost 6'5" now, but he was on six at one point. He was 6'5", about 200, 205. Dylan was at about 5 pounds. There, he's the quarterback. So you got a receiver and a quarterback, all the talent in the world. We have a family of athletes, but for them, they just really didn't because like I said, we just grew up. We were outside, right? We
Hmm.
did everything outside. We toughened each other up. Man, we were always competing. But we were doing physical stuff outside. Then video games came out. We still were kind of in that, but now because the way the internet and streaming and being inside, it's like you can get the experience by not even being outside almost.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
some of these kids, when they're competing with the video games, like if you lose, you lost, right? But you might be
yeah,
mad, but it's a different level of physically getting beat and losing and going through that pain and like, do I want to do this again? Because I can tell
yeah,
you right now, playing video games, if I lose, the only thing is you hurt my feelings, right? Or something like that. I'm in my feelings.
yeah,
But am I physically drained? Maybe my thumbs and stuff, but mentally a little bit. But I mean, it's not the same when it's both. So you going back to my sons, they started to hit their stride after high school. They my one son Ethan kind of hit his stride in his senior year, but he broke his clavicle, and that they were 3-0, and then when he broke his clavicle, they went 0-6.
mm,
So came back for the last game. It was a great game. They ended up winning, but going to Fullerton, these guys were projected. They could have been, they had D1 bodies, and all. And I say that is because it's potential,
yeah,
right? Potential is only good if you want to put the hard work behind it and do the things that are necessary. So, when they went over to Fullerton, great staff. I played with some of those guys, so I knew they're gonna get to work in, and they thrived. And then this past year in the spring, towards the end of spring football, they unfortunately were in a car accident, a pretty
wow,
bad one. Ethan broke his leg and fractured his ankle in three places. Dylan, it was concussion and rolled around in the car. Luckily, the airbags came. His seatbelt ripped off. So, but because of that, Dylan was trending. He brought his notebook to the meetings. He does everything that I was telling him in high school that he does it in college, and it worked for him. And so that accident really put them both. Ethan, one of the top receivers, they were planning to have a big year, and adversity hits,
yeah,
and so that now Dylan had to come back without his brother. Ethan's gonna have to sit out the whole year. But he's walking and everything, but he can't. He's gonna get the rods taken out, but he's not gonna probably come back this year. So Dylan's fighting right now, and they had brought in two guys from other colleges, and he's fighting like for spots where he was trending like I'm gonna be number one guy.
yeah,
So watching those guys go through that, man, and seeing the fight, you know, um, it's I'm telling everybody out there that has quarterbacks as kids is you know don't get into the hype of like the Instagram and all this other stuff. Like there's way more stuff that goes into it. I could probably call my phone about I don't know how many quarterbacks that can light up and throw a ball 50 yards on a dart. right?
Mm-hmm.
But that 50 yards, like 50 yards, like with some velocity, but how many of them can hit where they're supposed to hit at because their
Yeah.
footwork's wrong, right? Or, can they read defenses? Or are they just an athlete? When you hike the ball, are you processing, how you processing the play? Can
Yeah.
you sit in a room for 20 minutes without falling asleep and take notes?
Mm-hmm.
Are you a leader? Like, can you lead? Because they're looking for at the next level is leaders. It's really what it comes down to. And saying the example of my kids is it can all get taken away in a heartbeat, right?
Yeah.
So now they're working their way back and Dylan's still fighting. I love that about him because they're so excited for next year for him, and then that's what you need, right? But you got to put the work in. Their struggle was they were always gifted athletes and they didn't put the work all the way in. Like you got to
Mm.
be committed to the weight room. I don't care if you're a quarterback or not, because if you can do more things, you can be more recruitable, right?
Yes.
So the guys that stand in the pocket and throw, you better be really good in the pocket with your footwork. That means being able to go laterally back and forth, sliding up to throw, not sliding up to look around, you know, sliding up to throw and putting the ball accurately on time. You got to be the most accurate quarterback if you're not mobile. And you got to be able to get the ball off on time. You got to you know, be able to read defenses like your offensive coordinator, because you
Yeah.
got to process things that much quicker and faster because you can't really move off platform or just get out of the pocket. Um, if you're a mobile quarterback, you have to be able to be in the pocket and make those throws when things are flying around you, people are falling at your lead. Can you keep your eyes up the field and hit the wide open guy going across the middle, or did you
Yeah.
just take off and run? Because those are the little things that are going to set you apart when they watch film, because we watch film. Don't tell me how good you are. Show me the tape.
Yeah.
That's what I always
And
tell
that's
my tell my
and
son
that's
that. Show me the tape.
and that's kind of crazy. When I talk to the quarterbacks, and we have conversations, and I let them know all the time about like the difference between like RPOs and play action, right?
Hmm.
Um, they from the eye in the sky, you can't tell what it is until it happens, right? When the quarterback puts the ball in the belly and pulls it out. If he puts the ball in the belly and pulls it out and he holds it, that's a play action.
Hmm.
If he puts the ball in the belly, pulls it and throws it, that's an RPO. So
Hmm.
what I explain to my kids is if I call an RPO and you pull that ball out and you don't pull the trigger, that means you was never going to do a RPO. You were always going to throw the ball. You just did that action just for no reason. You just did that for no reason. Because the only way you pull the ball is if it's open. That's it. It's a
Hmm.
run pass option, not a
Option.
pass run option. It's run pass is the
Hmm.
option. So if the option
Hmm.
isn't correct, you don't pull it. You don't pull it. It's either there or it's not there. If it's not there, you hand it. If you don't know if
Hmm.
it's there or not, you hand it. If it may be there, you hand it. The only way you pull it is if it's there. So, and
Yep.
that's the other thing that I was telling them about, the camera, and what people see. What people see is important because, like, let's say you're a college recruiter and your whole offensive scheme is RPOs, then you're going to look for an RPO quarterback. You're going to look for a quarterback that can run RPO, that can scan the field within that fraction of 1.7 seconds and make that decision really fast with the ball in the belly and be able to have the footwork and the arm speed to get it out and get it out efficiently. So let's say you're watching film, that's something that you're going to look at because you don't know the play call. All you see is the
Hmm.
action. So what the action shows is a play action, not an RPO.
Hmm.
So
Yep.
and it's just like little things like that that I try to explain to all of my athletes about. It's a difference between you watching film, your parents watching film, and a college coach watching film for you to do a job. So in order for you to do a job, you got to show that you can do the job because that's actually very, very important. So just real quick, we got
Okay.
about 15. about 10, 15 minutes here. But one thing that I did want to talk about is I may have lost you here. You kind of froze up on me. I may have lost you. Let me see. Let me get you off here. I'm gonna hang up again and get you back on so we can get this back so we can close it out real quick. I'm gonna go out and I'm gonna get you back on real fast. Let me get you back. I lost you for a second. Go ahead and call back in. So I'm gonna give them some time to go ahead and call back in, and we're gonna close it out for a second. It's a lot of information. It's a lot of information, a lot of nuggets. Hopefully, it's some quarterbacks listening here, especially on the playback. Go ahead and listen out on here, and especially like if you're a parent of a quarterback, if you're a parent of a quarterback that's struggling or something like that, or need to get some sort of training or something. You can tap in if you're on that area around that time. You can, most definitely contact my boy Coach Draft. If you're out here in the IE area, you need work, you most definitely hit me up too. We do almost the same thing, similar. But yeah, we here on the Hearts and Helmets. I'm gonna try to get some more people to get up on here. Next week we have an open show. It's going to be an open forum show where I'm going to talk to the guests. I'm going to talk to the parents and the people that's on here. People going to be able to call in and ask questions. And answer it. And if I can't answer it, my goal is to try to get someone on here within a certain time frame to get that answer for you. So that's what I really want to try to get done to go here. So like I said, I was going to wait a couple more minutes here, see if I can get him back on here so we can go ahead and close out the show. I want to close out the show properly like I do all the time. I know that he's still on campus, late night working. So, sometimes the school districts and things like that, the internet kind of changes up on him. So that's another thing. But um, all right, so we'll close it out right here. Hope you guys enjoyed the show on tonight. My man, Coach Draft. I'll have him, put his information in the chats here for you guys. Hopefully, I can get him back on here soon. When I do, I want to do a whole round table with different. Oh, there he goes right here. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and get you back on here. Can you hear me? There you go. So let me get him back on here. We're gonna close it out. That way, I close it out the right way. There
Yeah.
you go, Coach. Got it.
Sorry about that, guys. We had like a thing cut the power surge and everything, so
Wow.
I'm back now.
All right, there you go. There you go. All right. So, like I said, we want to close it out for a second. But what I wanted you to do, I'm glad that you made it back because I do want to close it out the right way. If you have anything else that you want to tell the people, that anything else that you wanted to say, or anything else that you wanted to put out in the universe, the floor is yours. The floor is yours.
Okay. Well, again, I want to thank Coach Dunlop for having me on, and I'm just super excited about our friendship and how we can help each other grow and help all the young kids that we will come in contact with in coaching, and just helping them be great young men and women. So I wanted to just, if you guys don't know, probably don't know, you see my shirt, P2 Athletics. P2 Athletics is the company that my partners, Mike and Joe. Just thankful for their partnership. It's something I do. We do training, recruiting, helping them with the kids and nutrition, health and wellness. But you can go to p2athleticsoc.com. And then we have a couple different partnerships too, JMF3 Group and Skylar Martin, where, we have credit. I did credit for a long time. So I want to help the kids also is we want kids not to be in debt. You know, we want them to be when you go to college, and a lot of kids don't realize, man, I just wanted to tell this to all the kids that are watching and the parents. Like, we did a breakout class, and, when I was helping with the football club, and I said, where do you think the parents get the money to pay for your college? And some kids were just like, yeah, they just have it. I said, they work really hard. They put food on the table. So where do you think? And so I did mortgages for a long time, and people would take mortgages that take money out of their home for to pay for their school, but their parents are still paying for it, right? And so I said, if you have an opportunity to get a scholarship, how that changes your family's dynamic, house now, like what they had to do to help you go to college, right? And then most people aren't even thinking about paying it back. It's just like it just happens, right? And so once I broke that down to them, where money comes from, like what kind of things like that, it was eye opening. These kids were like, man, I didn't realize school costs that much, how much a high level D1 university costs versus a junior college when you're like, I just don't want to go to a junior college, right? We have one of the top JC football programs, top to bottom out here in California. So, and they send guys to D1 programs all the time,
Yeah.
so it's a different path, and I'm not saying that's somebody's path, but some people just got to have that D1 scholarship. But I have the heart to tell a lot of the kids, man. But I'm very honest with people. I'm never going to say like, hey, you can't be something, like, because you want to go there and you want to do it, but I'm gonna give you the reality. And the reality is it's a really small percentage, small, and I'm talking about 1%, 2%, they're gonna make it to a D1 school, right? And you can't be the best on your team. You can't be the best in the county. You gotta be the top in the state, to give yourself a chance. But if you can't, that it's okay because they're giving D1 to D2 scholarship full rides. You can get an academic scholarship at D3. You can do really well, especially in California. It's a lot less to go to a JC when you have D1 players you're playing against, right? And then that's a lot of opportunity to go to school and get a degree, because at the end of the day, when you're done playing football, what you have is your degree, and you have a lot of relationships and partnerships that you can make from it. Do everything you can, with your NIL, with the people you meet, shake hands and look people in the eyes. Say what you're gonna say, but mean what you're gonna say. Do the work, because that will always come back to you. Someone might hire you because they say how hard you worked when they saw you in football, and then you translate that. But like, you gotta, if you're in football right now, that's just a little tidbit that financially that could really help your family. There's some people that they need that, and they gonna be dogs to get that. And there's other kids that grew up and have a little bit, and it's hard for them to turn that page because they don't really think about that. But I'm telling you, there'd be a bolder gratitude to your parents if you could do that. You don't realize how hard that is. They want you to have something that is really not really that affordable, you know? Um, so just remember that, kids, about your parents. And the one thing is, watch film. If you don't watch film, remember, us coaches can see your huddle minutes. I don't know if some of you know that. We can see
Yeah.
it. We can actually see if you looked at the installs too. Like, we can actually see that who actually looked at the installs, right? So the eye in the sky is everywhere, right? Get your rest, because if you don't get your rest, guess what? You don't perform well, and guess what? The people that don't perform well in practice probably don't play that much, right? Because for us, if you don't practice well, you don't come to practice. Like, so you got to practice well. You got to take care of your body and rest. I mean, all that extra stuff that you doing outside that you think is fun and all that stuff is more fun when you actually can achieve your goals and you make it. Right now it's fun, but you're young, but go put the work in and allow yourself to have way more fun later on. You take care of your classes. If you're struggling, the worst thing you can do is not say something. Like, you have goals in sight and you want to play at the next level. I don't care if it's D1, D2, D3. If you're struggling, you need to ask. You need to ask, because we don't know what's going on in your head. And then by the time some people ask, it's too late,
Yeah.
right? So it starts when you're a freshman. It used to be like, oh, I messed up my freshman year. No, you need to make sure you're taking care of your stuff right away. Do the things. So eat, get your rest, make sure you're putting good nutritional stuff in your body. You're hydrated all the time, taking care of your school, and you put the work in, right? And you ask for help. I did tell you right now, ask for help on training, school, film, whatever you need. You just be that person that is willing to go and get it and learn. Because I'd rather take that guy any day than the guy who's super athletic that I gotta go find. That I gotta say,
Mm.
oh, did you turn in your homework? Did you do this? Did you do that? Like, after a while, like, you're not the babysitter. Like, if you just do what you're supposed to do and you do that, the chips will follow. Like, you're going to get
Yeah.
somebody that goes, I want that guy in my program. So at the end of the day, I want to shout out my boys, Ethan and Dylan, man. I love you guys. I'm proud of you guys. Ethan, we're gonna get through this injury. You're gonna come back even stronger. And Dylan, man, they lost their game last night. It was up in they were playing Ventura, man. It's starting to become this rivalry, and so Fullerton lost to Ventura 45-42 last night, and
Mm.
so shout out to him, man. I mean, he's working his way in there, and I mean, he's doing his thing, and he can't wait for his brother and them to come back. So he's grinding it out this year, and for all you quarterbacks out there, the numbers dwindle down. You got to make sure that you're doing everything possible to put yourself in the position to get the opportunity. And when you do get that opportunity in there, you need to go ball out. And when you get the opportunity, if you're not ready, that's even more detrimental because you've been in the sidelines watching everything. You need
Yep.
to stay hungry, stay ready, and when your time comes, you need to have the mindset that I'm the last one. There isn't
Mm-hmm.
nobody coming after me. That I'm the last one. I'm gonna
I'm the
go
guy
lead
that's
this
in there.
team. Yep, and that's it. So, yep, that's it, Coach. I mean, me and you could talk all night long, but I know we don't got much
Man,
time.
yeah. But yeah, man, appreciate you. Like I said, me and you be talking a lot more. I don't know if you heard me earlier. That's when we was logging back in. I said I want to put together like a little round table with a bunch of
Mm,
with a bunch of offensive guys and just go over like basic concepts. Like I don't even want to get too
yep.
crazy. Like I just want to go over like basic concepts. Like how do you
Hmm.
guys teach mesh? How do you teach mesh?
Hmm.
How do you teach this? How do you teach that? And then just brainstorm and then have a bunch of quarterbacks and different guys out here and just teach. Just really just teach. But all
Yeah.
in all, man, appreciate you for taking the time out. And I know you had a crazy day today. You had a busy day today, but thank you for doing the show, man. And we appreciate you, man.
Yeah. Hey, tell your son, man, we gotta get out in the field, man. We gotta
Most
go.
definitely.
I'll be his receiver. I'll be his receiver for the day.
All right, we may make that trip. I'm gonna hit you up. We may make that trip next week. I got like three other guys I'm gonna bring out, kind of mesh it all together, man. But man, 1,000%, man. Appreciate you, big dog. Appreciate
All
you.
right. Appreciate you, Coach.
All right, no problem. All right, and that's going to conclude today's show, man. I really hope you guys got some information from it today. My man, Coach Draft, been doing it for a long time. We didn't touch on it too much, but he has a couple of projects going on right now that's going to help change the community, help out the community. Hopefully, we'll go ahead and talk about that on the next show there. But I appreciate you guys taking the time out. It's almost about 8:30 now, so go ahead and get some sleep and get ready for the next week. And in the morning, we got motivational Mondays, so be on the lookout for that on Instagram and TikTok, Facebook. So love you guys. I'll see you guys next Sunday.